Okay, so here's our solution. This is Murphy and Lemieux. And Murphy says, this is my territory, this is my nest box, and you are a very pretty girl that isn't completely rejecting me. And she says, okay, and I'm getting ready to lay an egg in the next day or two, so let's put this together. There is just no hesitation here at all. Amazing what will happen when you put a bird with a willing mate. Down here, this is our cat and a nameless male. He is not a malachite and lava chick. In fact, I found him out there. Again, another one of these birds that I've been keeping that I never used. He has a nice big blow and a nice long mask and very long feather. His wing feathers and tail feathers are long. And he has reasonable size. And his father is an underrepresented bird. His father was Sprite. He has two half-sisters in here. One of them being Baba Genia's mate, Sif, who has bred for me before and for whom I do have babies. So that means he has a half-nephew, which is Thames. And he has another half-nephew, which is Murphy, and a half-nephew, which is, having a brain fart, Kenny Loggins, okay? A half-nephew means that they share maybe 10 to 12% of the genes, because their mother's mother was Fluffy, and his mother's mother was a bird named Ariel. Fluffy got too old, and I bred his father Sprite to Ariel, and I thought I got rid of all of their babies because none of them came out very well, but this guy was hiding in a corner somewhere, and I pulled him out and looked at him and went, oh my gosh, this is a Sprite boy, and he definitely looks like his father. So the other one that's his half-sister is Lemony in here. But Lemony, I have never bred successfully. She's 2.5 years old, 3 years old maybe, and I have never gotten a live chick out of her. So that means that Sprite's line is underrepresented, and it would be lovely if these two put it together. Now, his mother, Ariel, was full cousins to Arquette's mother, who is Luna, who's right over here with Indus. But, again, their mothers are first cousins. That means they are second cousins, or first cousins once removed, or maybe even twice removed. So their genetic similarity is down to 1 or 2%. It's a very tiny, infinitesimal overlap. So I'm not really inbreeding here. So hopefully, so I also thought about it for a while. I thought, you know who Arquette's in love with? She's in love with Thames. She and he were carrying on out in the cage, but I pulled him and put him up here with his girl, and Thames doesn't mess around. So they've got their first egg and they're running. And I fully expect fertility based on the activity that's been going on here. But little Miss Arquette has been carrying on like she's just going to hold out for him forever, because she's only 2 cages away from him and she can still hear him. So I think by putting her all the way down here on the bottom, she may finally start to forget about him. I'm not putting a nest box on her yet. I'm just going to let these two adjust for a few days first. She's never been in a breeding cage before, so she's kind of freaking out like, what is this little world we're in? So anyway, okay, so fingers crossed there. On this girl, she is in pain. I can see that. You see how she's sitting strangely on the perch? That's pain. So it always drives me crazy when people look at an animal, especially a bird or a reptile, and say, well, they don't seem to be in any pain. And I'm like, well, what do you think they're going to do if they're in pain? Are they going to cry like a baby? They're going to suddenly learn how to talk and say, ouch, it hurts? No, you can't just look at an animal and guess that it's not in pain, okay? So here are pain symptoms. See how she's sitting oddly on the perch? She's actually leaning backwards a little bit. Eyes are closed, she's swaying a little bit. Her feet are not actually clutching the perch. She's like just kind of balancing up there because she doesn't have a lot of strength. She did have a string of something that looked bloody coming out of her back end, which would have been an instant euthanasia, because once they start shitting their guts out of their butts, they're living in a world of the most horrendous pain you can possibly imagine, and there's no cure. So, but when I caught her, I actually set the kill box up and everything, and when I caught her and looked at it, it turned out that it was actually poo. It was black, which meant it had blood in it, but it was poo. So, I'm kind of divided on what to do here. So the other thing to think about is, are they eating and drinking? And she is eating and drinking, which tells me there's a will to live. So I'm waiting. I'm thinking about giving her another dose of medical marijuana juice, just to ease it if she's in any discomfort. But the fact that she's still eating and drinking says that she has a will to live. So I'm kind of up in the air. She needs to look a lot better than this before I can put her out in the flight cage. But she needs to stop eating or go down off that perch. There's the other thing to look for with birds is if a bird is no longer sitting on the perch in its cage, if it's sitting on the ground, and when you put your hand in, it doesn't run away, it's time to put it down. So she's just not quite there yet. She's right on the border, so I'm watching her very closely, but it's not time to put her down yet. So we'll see.